All right, the Battle of the Daves.
That's true. Dave, definitely one of the more in vogue Scrabble names, along with, of course, yourself, Josh, and Jason. I feel like those are the three names.
Oh,
Wow.
now that's a Dave play if I've ever
Dave
seen one.
Wiegand is just a beast. Look at that play.
That's
Aerobus
amazing.
making 5 two-letter words. Dave had a very vowel-heavy rack. He had 5 vowels, 1 consonant, and an S, and he found an amazing play of Aerobus. And Dave responds with a bingo. Actually, quite amazingly, um, Dave Koenig played Krog through the O of Yeoman and drew 3 vowels to his
Yeah,
4 consonant leave to hit
that's
Ladrone.
gotta feel good. That's gotta feel good when that happens. Yeah. One of the things, if you're here from chess, if you're more of a chess player, I hear this often, and um, people tend to say the hardest moves to find are moving your pieces back, especially the knight. I know Agadmator says the hardest move to find is with the knight back. I think one of the hardest moves to find in Scrabble is a play that uses your S in a position where it's just odd to play an S. So I think finding a play like Erebus is really top tier. Just demonstrates how experienced and keen Dave Wiegand is in this game. You don't usually want to play your S for only like 30 points or 25 points, but in positions where you have a lot of bad tiles, the S is quite useful.
Yeah, no question. That is an idiosyncratic usage of the S right there, as Josh alluded to. And that play is very strong. I mean, it's worth mentioning, too, that it wouldn't have been crazy for Dave Wiegand to play just Aroba through the R of Krog and set his S up with a little bit better of a hook. But
Mhm.
ultimately, you really can't find fault with Erebus. It's probably the best play just for the extra points that he was able to score on that play. Um, so that's just tremendous. A question of, is Krog the play on Yeoman? And
It's
honestly,
close,
it's probably as good as
really close.
anything. It's
It's
probably as
really
good as
close.
anything.
I don't think I would play it. Um,
Would you play Chord or would you exchange?
well, I definitely would play Krog over Court. Like, what are we talking about?
So it's between exchanging or playing. Yeah, that's tricky. Well, I mean, the nice thing about it is if ever, I know we were just talking about how bad the G is, but if ever there were a time to keep it, it would be when there's no eyes on the board at all, and that there are some realistic sevens lanes that you could hit an ING bingo and actually play it. Um,
I'd argue you want an eye on the board, Will, so you can play through it. Sorry, I get
no
so
question.
moody. I get so
No,
moody when
no
you mention.
question. No,
I
I'm
think,
not. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just throwing it out there as an idea.
yeah, no, it's obviously a candidate play. Like, I mean, of course, but yeah, Krog scores a couple
I
more.
favor Krog too,
Um,
just for the record.
I think I don't know. I think it's really close. I would usually exchange, but if I know that I'm playing Dave Wiegand, who is by all means superior Dave in terms of results, um, I might be more prone to making a play like Krog. And wow, we see Querida come
Some
down
craziness just
extremely
happened
quickly.
there. Yeah.
There
So
was no A for Quadriga.
I
Like,
know from Dave's perspective, that was actually a very amazing turn, tricky turn. So Dave played high, HIE, leaving AABI, and that was probably his best play there. And the crazy thing about it is Dave's rack of so many vowels and just a B and an H was perfectly unsuited to play through that E of Ladrone, right? Like it's so bad. There's nothing worth playing in that spot. So Dave plays high after a long think. He was looking at it and probably it actually took him looks like 3 full minutes to make that play of high because it was so frustrating to him that he couldn't play through the E of Ladrone. And Dave immediately hammers it with Querida for 81, putting the Q on the double letter score and the whole word on the triple word score. Yikes. So big, big. play for Dave Koenig here. And it just feels like Dr. Bing is having some bad luck today, Josh.
Yeah, we need some strategy. Yeah, he is having some bad luck, but we need to decide what we're calling these two players. Can we call them by their last names so as
Sure,
not to
yeah.
confuse the
Koenig and
audience?
Wiegand. Yeah, they are both
Okay.
Daves. So
So Koenig plays Vegas, and unfortunately in Scrabble, what happens with I can't even make this
oh,
one
you
here.
could have
Never
finished
mind.
that one off.
I could have tried, but no, it didn't seem like it was flowing. Anyways, Vegas or Vegas comes down. I don't know if it's Vegas because Vegas was a word before Vega was a word in NWL.
That's true. Yeah.
So I guess you can pronounce it either way or either way.
Very, very nice. You're in rare form. We're in game 10 right now, folks. The stream is hitting almost 7 hours. We're going to be hitting 7 hours in just 10 minutes time. And look, this, apart from playing in the actual event, this is, it's, I'm feeling it a little bit. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm probably not drinking enough.
Oh, well, you have that effect going on. That might be helping. So
maybe. What are we gonna see here? Okier? Like, what do you?
just something with lunk. I don't even know.
With lunk? Oh yeah. That looks better.
I mean, that's what I was thinking.
It's still a game. It's still a game.
So
But
kaye, right? This is a word that if you are coming from a background of mostly playing with the North American dictionary, you're gonna say, what the heck is that? But that is a word that you will see constantly be played in the Collins dictionary, and a very, very useful word consisting of a K and 3 vowels. So no surprise. It is a key, apparently. I can't remember.
obsolete word.
Yeah, quite tricky. So basically, if you see a word like that and you say to yourself, "WTF? How the heck is that a word?" We hear you, but at the same time, some of us see a word like that and say, "Ah, cool, that's so cool." So it is a matter of taste, what you think about words like that. But ultimately, I typically, it's sort of unsatisfying when I give this answer, but just tell me what dictionary we're using and what words I'm allowed to play, and I'll figure out what those are and do my best to play them.
That's a really cool reference, by the way, by Bill Rexhausen, from a Jeopardy category. I was going to mention that I think to settle the debate on people just discussing what should and shouldn't be a word, I think what we need to do is act like Scrabble is a movie and just suspend our disbelief. And once we do that, whatever is a word is a word. That's just the end of it, you know?
Interesting. I'm not sure I've heard that. So Scrabble is a movie, not a TV show. Can we have the Queen's Gambit of Scrabble? What would the name of our show be if we had a Queen's Gambit of Scrabble on Netflix?
Yeah, I think someone already coined this, like the Q's Gambit or something. I
I'm
think
curious
somebody
if
already said
anyone.
that.
We've got
Oh
some
my god! Wait a second. Is there a triple here? Look at this rack. Oh my god.
endowers.
Oh my god, there we go. Bringing it back. Wiegand with
Wow,
some luck.
unbelievable. So, okay, we got to break this down. So basically, we saw a couple of plays go
Wow.
down while we were chatting. Whinier for Dave. That's definitely a strong play. Like, it's hard to really find fault with that. It just looks like a pretty reasonable choice. Josh, what do you think about
Yeah, and we see Ahoy. I think Ahoy was way too hasty. But yeah, Whinier looks fine to me,
I
honestly.
really think
Really
that's just a case of
putting a
right
W out
play,
there.
yeah, right play, wrong
What's the
timing.
worst that can happen? And we see it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I can hear the voices of more defensive-minded Scrabble players in my head screaming at me that at no point should you ever open a triple like that. But ultimately, in this situation, I think maybe it's just Dave's luck evening out just a little bit.
I don't know if Dave would agree with you on that.
Yeah, sorry. Wiegand. I'm so sorry. You're totally right. We agreed. We agreed on it, and I went back on the promise to use the last names. You're totally right. Wiegand's luck.
All right, Vug. Yeah, I think Ahoy was way too open. I think maybe just phony to through the N, and Winear kind of protects those left hand side of the board lanes that remain. I think Ahoy was really, I think that was a tilt play. And there is a lot of tilting in Scrabble. Okay,
Yeah,
Waff comes down instead of wife. I'm not sure about that one either.
yeah, and wow,
Those are coming down fast.
and Dave, this is a dicey situation here, just because the play of Endowers, good point by Evil Budgie, going up by such a huge amount as Dave was after Endowers, there were definitely plays he could have picked there that did not leave such a good bingo line available on row 2, right? So you can see a huge, easy sevens lane that accommodates a D, an R, an S, a T, pretty much every possible consonant. Even words ending in ATE or something like that, or whatever. It's available, and Dave has good bingo tiles, sort of, except he has duplicate E's and L's, and he has a U. He could easily struggle to score well on this play, and the unseen tiles are very good, with the exception of there's a little bit of a lack of E's, and there are a lot of T's. So if Dave has managed to, and actually we know he has the last E, right? He could have used it. Oh, maybe that's a reason for Waff over wife, Josh.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Well, no. Well, there were 3 from his perspective, or 2.
Okay. I'm just looking at all the possibilities. So I think maybe Knotweed is more defensive for bingos, but it does give back a bunch of possible huge scoring plays that triple the consonant both ways under the O. So Pondweed might have been slightly better.
Oh, okay. Yep.
But it's really crazy. Like, I'm looking at the possible words with that rack, and there aren't really that many. There are a total of 16 words. And
through a W?
With those 8 letters, there is a total of 16 playable words if the W is out in space.
Yep, got it.
And only 6, I think, 6 of them start with a W, which is what you usually expect with a W, that is going to start a word. And there's like 5 of them that have the W in that position. There's Endowers, Pre-Owned, Renowned, Ironweed, Knotweed, Pondweed. So there's just as many words with the W in that position, just because of the weed suffix, which is really, it's really useful. It's a really useful
have to keep that in mind for better know a letter W.
So yeah, the W in that position at first glance doesn't look too dangerous, but if you think of wood and wart and worm and weed and all of those odd suffixes, it gets a bit dangerous with 2 blanks out there. It's a bit dicey.
All right, we do see eventually Dave plays Taxi going for a bingo, and Dave is going to bingo with Monster or Mentors or something like that, and that's going to be it. What was that? Sorry.
Sorry, you keep saying Dave and Dave. And Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's totally impossible.
It's so difficult. If I was moderating,
totally. Wiegand is going to finish this one off. Koenig with a very high scoring Z play down in the lower left, but he's down by exactly 120 points here, so it's not going to matter. And I can't remember. I think Trats is good. I think Dave has an outplay here. I think Wiegand has an outplay here.
We got there. My favorite weed word is joint weed.
That's really a word?
Wait, I think so. Or am I thinking of...
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the thought process was on Taxi.
I think every single play after the triple was Koenig being tilted. And I don't think the plays that he made were that good.
I don't know.
I think when you get tripled on like that, it's really hard to maintain your composure, and that's what I would attribute that to. I think normally Koenig would make better plays than that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's. I'm not going to argue that it certainly does not feel good to get tripled on. I don't know. It's. I mean, for a player like Dave Wiegand, I could easily imagine. You know, if I played Dave Wiegand enough times, I would probably lose a lot of games. I don't really know what the history is between Wiegand and Koenig, whether or not Koenig has a bad record against him. That sort of thing can factor in, right? So if you get tripled on by somebody that you have an even record against, doesn't feel good. If you get tripled on in that fashion by somebody that you have a bad record against and that you can't seem to beat no matter what you do, now it starts to get annoying. It starts to get upsetting when that sort of thing happens. Um, so maybe that factored in. Yeah, I do. I think of those plays. I don't have any problem with Whinier. I really think that's just bad luck. But Ahoy looks a little crazy, given that the score of the game is still kind of close. He's only losing by a little more than 50 points. You can absolutely continue to just play normally and outscore your way back into that game. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see. Ultimately, this is. I'm actually a little surprised that Dave hasn't just played Zap. I guess maybe he's. I think he's
Thinking
probably
about spread.
thinking,
Because
yeah,
Traps is
can I
there.
block? Yeah, can I block? But I can't imagine how he will
If you can,
block.
yeah, if you can play ADIN and keep Zep in two spots, or DEIN, excuse me, and keep Zep or Zap in two spots, that works
It
because
could work.
you also have the spot at the top left corner, but I don't really see a way to do that
And
without blocking.
Lucas with the helpful stat. Hey, Lucas, nice to see you. Thanks for that stat. 11 and 20 against Wiegand. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if I played 30 games against Dave Wiegand. I'd
Well,
probably
what
be.
if Dave Wiegand's name was Will Wiegand? I mean, how would you feel then if someone with your namesake is just slaughtering you?
I am the only Will in the Scrabble world. People say Will in the Scrabble world, and they know instantly who it is. It's
Mhm.
me, baby. There's nobody else that it could be. Unlike you, where there's 1,000 Joshes. But ultimately, when I hear Josh in a Scrabble context, I definitely think about Josh Sokol first, and I think also about twitch.tv/axcertypo being a great channel for everybody to follow as well.
Oh, Will, how could I stay mad at you? You're really upping your troll game these days. I really think Twitch has helped you.
Wow.
I really no, that's serious. Nice job.
Twitch making a monster of me. Um, yeah, this is interesting, and I do think about Dave Koenig as being somebody that is actually, I mean, as much as we're,
Mm.
you know,
I think I found the best play,
speculating.
by the way.
What's that?
I think I found the best play. Plane through the L and twill, keeping Z in two spots.
Oh, that looks great. Yeah, that looks very clever. I mean, Dave, then, I mean, it just the how much bigger is the taxi play though? That's my question. Like playing alongside there, is that even so much more that it's enough? Probably not, actually.
No, you gotta
Yeah, I
block.
think blocking trats is the key, and then yeah, you do get your Z plays, and it works out better. I'm sure you're right about that.
But no, the point I'm making is, I mean, if there was a Josh in Scrabble that had my number and that was higher rated than me and that was winning tournaments and I wasn't winning, and my record against him was 11 and 20, I think I would have a hard time keeping my composure.
That's fair. That's fair. But ultimately, I was gonna follow up by saying, in my experience against Dave Koenig, he is pretty like I've played a number of games against him. Some I've won, some I've lost. I don't really think of him as somebody that gets rattled too easily over the board. So I don't know.
He doesn't show it.
That's been my experience with him. So I'm sure right now he's just doing what all of us aspire to do in Scrabble, which is no matter what the score is of the game, you do your best to work out those end game sequences as best you can. I think Josh has figured this one out, that Dave has one outplay that needs to be blocked. and Dave can do that while saving himself a choice of really high-scoring Z plays. And I'm very sure we're going to see Dave play Trats here very, very quickly, unless I'm mistaken. Has anybody defined this word just to make sure I'm not hallucinating?
Yeah, maybe it's. Oh, it is
Okay.
here.
All
Okay.
right. Fine. So
Trattoria. Oh, that's cool.
there we go. So
Is he
there
gonna
it
get
is.
5 points for it? See if he gets 5 points for it.
Yeah, maybe. Possibly.
Or is Koenig gonna let his time run down to? Okay,
I
cool.
think he should challenge because
Yeah.
is it possible that Dave could have won the game if it came off the board?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
20 plus 5 is.
He could play DENI at the top of mentors, maybe, and maybe win.
18, 21, 20, 27.
No, he's down too
No,
much. Yeah, he's
no,
down too much.
that would barely lose.